Peace must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
Common manufacturing unit at Kariokor Market in Nairobi is nearing completion. Once fully equipped, this center will provide impetus to the local shoemaking industry and to professionalize as well as to standardize manufacture of shoes. We are also undertaking similar initiatives in the textile value chain at Uhuru Market, developing a center of excellence for the modern production of finished textile goods. The above intentions are intended to promote the values of social justice, inclusivity, and access for all, ensuring that the benefits of our growing economy are not just limited to a few people. To facilitate inclusivity and to enable appropriate planning for the needs of all persons, we are also this year rolling out the 2019 National Housing and Population Census, and that will happen later this year. This exercise, together with the National Integrated Identity Management System, commonly known as NIMS, will ensure that all persons resident in Kenya will be enumerated in order to provide accurate data that is required for proper planning at all levels of government. Additionally, it is expected that when fully implemented, a comprehensive one-stop shop for all population and national identity records will be in place. Honorable Speakers, the national values are best realized through proactive reform measures in education. It is in our schools that we can best embed in our children human dignity, equity, social justice, inclusivity, and all the other values that we cherish and hold dear. And it is for this reason that my administration introduced curriculum reforms designed to better align our education system with our national values. These reforms are expected to mold a people who embody innovation and excellence. The result will be a globally competitive human capital base, having the tools for success in a fast-paced and dynamic world. Honorable Speakers, in fulfillment of the same, in 2018, my administration adopted the Policy on Universal Access to Basic Education. The policy seeks to ensure that all our children enroll in primary school and complete their secondary education with a 100% transition rate. This measure will go a long way to ensuring that all Kenyans have access to equal opportunities and a chance to further their passions. Our aggressive push of this agenda has this year seen us achieve a 100% transition rate, the highest on the African continent. Honorable members, to address the pressure on school facilities across the country, my administration has prioritized development of school infrastructure for the fiscal year 2019-2020. I also, today, call on all members to act in solidarity with our children and approve the education budget as per our request. Secondly, I also urge members of the National Assembly to prioritize allocation of the constituency development funds towards school infrastructure. Mr. Speaker, there is no turning back on the commitment to ensure that no child is left behind. As part of the tertiary education reforms, my administration has implemented a rejuvenation of the vocational training institutions to build on the skills needed to contribute to nation building, and in particular the manufacturing pillar of the Big Four. Over the last 3 years, my administration has set aside an unprecedented amount of resource towards supporting students joining technical and vocational training institutions. We are a country, Mr. Speaker, we are a country blessed with natural resources, which if properly managed, will transform in a big way our nation and the welfare of our people. We, however, must appreciate that these resources are finite, and in that context, it must be our solemn duty as a state to manage these resources sustainably for the fair and equitable benefit of both present and future generations. Mindful of this duty, my administration has developed and will be presenting before this session of Parliament the Sovereign Wealth Fund Bill. The bill proposes creation of a fund and provides a legal framework to guide the investment of revenues from oil, gas, minerals, and other qualifying natural resources. The fund as proposed in this bill comprises of 3 parts, notably a stabilization fund, an infrastructure development fund, and a future generation fund. It is important to underscore that other than the cost of services of those entrusted to manage the fund, all monies in the fund will be used to finance critical national development programs in order to ensure sustainability. Honorable Speakers, sustainable development is a constitutional imperative and one of the national values. Sustainable development remains a core consideration within my government, guiding the outlook and implementation of our policy, programs, and projects across the board. As the host nation of the United Nations Environmental Programme, Kenya remains a global leader in environmental conservation and sustainable development. My administration has spearheaded the implementation of various environmental initiatives, including interventions for the sustainable exploitation of the blue economy, sustained the ban on environmentally harmful classes of plastics and polythene carrying and packaging materials, enhanced the protection and promotion of our nation's forests, in line with our commitment to achieve a minimum of 10% forest cover by the year 2020, and interventions with regard to water and air quality. These interventions not only protect the environment, but also create business and employment opportunities through the green economy. Indeed, as a result of our interventions, Kenya is today a global leader in green energy, with 85% of our energy mix coming from renewable sources. Mr. Speaker, I am delighted to update this House on the progress we have made fulfilling our international obligations and positioning Kenya as a leader in the region, continent, and globally. Kenya has always and will continue to fulfill her international obligations as a responsible member of the community of nations. We do so conscious of the fact that fidelity to international law and commitment to our international obligations is critical to the structured management of international and diplomatic relations, and will promote our pursuit of common interests with other states. Kenya is a party to over 280 multilateral treaties, and in the past 1 year, we have ratified 3 multilateral treaties. These instruments will enhance market access for Kenyan products in Africa, share critical information, and generate wealth and jobs for Kenyans. My government continues to lobby for and to participate in senior positions within various international organizations. Honorable Speakers, Kenya's election to the AU Peace and Security Council in 2019 and our strategic decision to vie for a non-permanent seat in the United Nations Security Council for the period 21 to 2022 are geared towards affirming Kenya's historic pride as a leader in regional peace and security. During the period under review, Kenya has invested in robust diplomatic engagements at a bilateral and multilateral level in furtherance of our strategic national interests. These include engagements within and with regional partners such as Ethiopia, Namibia, and Uganda, and globally with the United States of America, Canada, France, China, and the United Kingdom, among other peer jurisdictions. Building a better Kenya, honorable speakers, is ultimately the desire of every Kenyan. But we must be alive to the reality that this noble goal cannot be achieved if we are operating in disharmony. Every one of us, honorable members, must appreciate the importance of unity and cohesion in this pursuit. We all know the damage that we have suffered in the past as a result of discord amongst ourselves. Indeed, it has been and it remains an urgent agenda of mine to bring harmony, unity, and civility to the political landscape and discourse in this country. And that is what informed the Building Bridges initiative, commonly known as the handshake. Honorable speakers, in all our cultures, a handshake is an expression of goodwill, friendship, trust, and reconciliation. It is synonymous with peace. Indeed, our handshake has been followed by millions of handshakes across the length and breadth of the Republic. Many leaders across the country and at every level of government have opted for a renewed politics of unity. And this has given Kenya a new and stable platform upon which we can rise above individual and sectarian interests, religious divide, and partisan politics, as we all together build a better, stronger, and more prosperous Kenya. We know very well that we were successful in securing our independence because as a people we were united. Unity was our key weapon. Therefore, honorable members, we cannot and we are not turning back on uniting the country. We have chosen the hard road. We have chosen the hard road of building unity and cohesion against the easy road of division. We are a greater people for it. Indeed, already the Building Bridges initiative is engaging Kenyans across the entire length and breadth of our country, and soon we will have an opportunity to comment on their findings and recommendations. Against this backdrop, honorable speakers, I reaffirm a commitment previously made, and which I hope this House this year will pass, of designating a Kenya shillings 10 billion fund to heal the wounds of historical grievances which have long poisoned our politics and strained communal relations. With Parliament's help and through the affected communities, we will be applying the fund towards establishing symbols of hope across the country, through construction of heritage sites, community information centers. And these will remind us and our future generations of the journey taken towards reconciliation and healing. Mr. Speaker, the unity that we are pursuing is not only between brothers and sisters within our borders, but also the unity of brothers and sisters that form the East African community and the greater continent of Africa. The path to prosperity for individual African states lies in promoting inter-Africa trade, integration, building bridges between our communities and nations that recognizes that we have far more in common with each other than we have as differences. Honorable Speaker, only recently in Mombasa, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, the President of Uganda, recently remarked that the integration of Africa is centered on three issues: prosperity, security, and fraternity. When we talk about integration, we are talking about prosperity of families of Africa. We are talking about the prosperity of business groups in Africa and creating space for shared prosperity. Honorable Speakers, Kenya's prosperity, security, and fraternity lies in even closer unity with our partners in the EAC at the first level, and thereafter wider regional and continental alignments. My administration remains committed to maximizing the benefits for Kenya by mutually deepening economic and eventual political integration of the East African community. In line with the spirit of Pan-Africanism, I also wish to extend our gratitude to the African Union for appointing one of our own to spearhead infrastructural connectivity across the continent. This is key. This is key to actualizing the shared prosperity of the African people through promoting trade between our brothers and sisters and further strengthening our bond of unity in this great continent. Honorable Speakers, turning to security, I am proud to say that the state of our national security is also equally strong.
Good morning, viewers. Good morning, wherever you are in Africa and the continent of Africa first, and then the entire world, where you are watching us from. This is an early edition of Good Morning Africa. We usually start at 11, but today, because of the by virtue of too much work, we are starting right now at 10 o'clock. Viewers, this is a very special occasion, exclusive, because we are going to first look at the speech the nation was addressed last night, the State of the Nation address by His Excellency President Kenyatta, which was last night. And we'd like to get your comments from last night, how he fared, how far through he is, especially on the economy. Some of us have checked all the facts that he used, the figures, the statements that he made. I think some of the statements on economy, on debt, on values, on security, all come to the same bracket. They were correct. On the question of corruption is what we want to look at. If you want to follow us on this program, please do so through the Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and other means, Instagram, where you can locate us. Those on our channel, we shall be picked from about 11 o'clock, because we usually do 11 o'clock East African time. It is right now about 9 o'clock in Europe, where our satellites are. So good morning, again, good morning all of you, Africa. First, we have the review of the President's speech to the nation yesterday. Second, we shall have a bit of African news. Number 3, we shall have the main topic of the day this morning will be the International Criminal Court. The United States of America has last night revoked visas to several officials, notably the chief prosecutor of the International Criminal Court. Her visa to United States has been revoked. She's a person non grata in the United States. She will not be able to enter the United States of America, plus several other officials. Sometime in 2012, I predicted when the chief prosecutor, the current one and the former chief prosecutor, tried to indict me of crimes under Article 70 of the Rome Statute, that I had interfered with witnesses of the International Criminal Court. In the actual sense, the witnesses were not protected by protection order under Article 70, of which you must protect the witness so that he is not actually accessible from any point anywhere in the world where the International Criminal Court operates from. But in actual sense, they didn't do that. The witnesses were left on Facebook, on Twitter, exchanging messages with their people at home. So the witness that they claim I interfered with or tampered with witnesses, one of them was OTP4, until we had a very big row. And I predicted that one day, I told the American ambassador by then, Reinberger, that one day you will hate the ICC. Today, it has come true that the International Criminal Court is a banned organization in the United States. Let's come back to President Uhuru Kenyatta's speech this last night. I want to take this opportunity to tell the people of Kenya that I have studied the speech word by word, paragraph by paragraph, sentence by sentence, to the last document, to the last pen and the ink and the full stop. There are several things that come out of President Kenyatta's speech last night. Let's begin analyzing the speech. This is my take. My take is this. President Uhuru Kenyatta yesterday made a very serious statement to the nation of the Republic of Kenya. In his statement, President Uhuru Kenyatta outlined the official engagements on foreign policy, economic policy, debt rescheduling, values of the state and of the country, on the issue of corruption, the unity of the country, the foreign policy of the country. President Uhuru Kenyatta categorically stated and made it very clear to those who were listening and nationals of Kenya that he will pursue an open Pan-African spirit policy that encourages African Union, that he will engage with international community as a member state, that the economy has been stable and in a stable and safe hands, that national unity that is very important and which is at the bottom foundation of this nation, Kenya, will be upheld, and the handshake, which was part of the redemption strategy, will be reinforced by institutions and by the finishing of the BPI, Bridging of Bridges initiative, a redemption strategy that could bring Kenya to a unified state that has no ethnic, tribal, and other cocoons that have infiltrated the state of the Republic of Kenya. President Uhuru Kenyatta was very, very categorical on the question of national unity, national importance, of which he put forward his own stand by engaging the leader of opposition, Dr. Raila Amolo Odinga. The concept, the Kenyan concept that has been taken out to the international community, I told you yesterday that I will use that concept to seriously, I will use that concept to model up what we could call Matsanga's theory. Matsanga's concept, Matsanga's political science theory. Does Africa need elections? Do we need elections in this continent? Are we mature enough to have elections? And if so, why do we kill each other every 4 years or 5 years or 7 years, according to which country you come from? If so, if Africa is mature in elections, if Africa can conduct its elections, then why do we tell mortuary attendants to extend space when we approach the time of elections? All of you have heard of by-elections in Kenya, in Ugunja, where there have been clashes between supporters. All of you have had elections in Embakasi, which are taking place today, this morning. The campaign period has been marred by violence, calling in leaders and electoral commission officials to call candidates to order. Does Africa need elections? I have told you that that concept of a handshake, the concept that took the handshake, that brought Raila Amolo Odinga on the platform with Uhuru Kenyatta, and they delivered what we call a coexistence policy concept, where leaders in Africa begin to learn to concede and work on the interest of the nation, not personal interests, is what I am going to follow as a political scientist to the last letter, once I am still, and when God gives me life to stay on this planet. I'll do that. I'll stand by that. I'll engage anybody who would like to engage me on the question of why Africa does not need elections. I want to be very frank that the speech of President Uhuru Kenyatta last night cut across a unifying factor, both the parliament and outside. Apart from everybody waiting for a huge hurricane Katrina coming to hit the mainland, the hinterland, the speech marks a beginning, a move towards a unified Kenya. A speech marks the unification of this country called Kenya, to put it together such that the tribes, people don't fight in an election anymore. Watching Kenyatta last night, affordable housing, people have started having housing. The speech, therefore, in his speech, President Kenyatta came out categorical and stated very seriously that there is a question of corruption. And I want to be very frank, which I have written already on my Facebook. You can check, talking from the fence. Talking from the fence, you can see the situation that I've written. Kenyatta last night set a threshold of those who want to steal government money. A threshold that once you steal government money, you will not be able to live longer and enjoy the sunshine. There are those who might think it is a joke. But any political scientist like me, looking at the speech, analyzing it from every angle, every strategy, every position, I find one thing cutting through. I find it's the same thing that President Uhuru Kenyatta and I could concur, that yes, if you steal the money, if you are a judge and you are in court, Justice, Jupiter Justice, DCJ, Philomena Mwiru, you are struggling for either to be charged or not to be charged, but you are in court. Why do you dent the court? Why do you go back to spoil the Supreme Court? Why do you go back to your office? Because even if you are cleared by this court, you will have doubts with people. The people who might have given this information out are working in your same office. It becomes very difficult, therefore, for anybody to fight corruption. If you are accused and you remain in a position, you go back to clean your files and wait for the NADCI or anyone to come. President Uhuru Kenyatta's speech last night is a speech that can tell you that it will rain. Yesterday I predicted that it was going to rain. And I want to tell viewers who are watching from very far that it is true, it rained from 4 p.m. today, 4 a.m. this morning. Exactly about 4 minutes past 4 a.m., the downpour started, at least in the house where I stay. And then I was awake, preparing my notes to go to the radio, and I said I predicted the rain would come. It is now that rain that sealed the words that I had told you. If you are a Christian and you are in this situation today of Lent, you will know that the Pharisees from different angles were telling the lawmakers in the synagogues, the preachers, the Pharisees were saying the seers that there is a problem. President Uhuru Kenyatta talked of vigilante. We have not been vigilantes. I am not, at least. My role as a media was to expose the type of information that was needed and to help to publicize to the public the documents that are available. For example, if there was corruption in the Kenya Pipeline Company, those documents are available. The public needed to know. Vigilante groups similar to those of civic society and the civic groups that pick fork and try to muzzle vigilante groups, and I want to be very candid for those to listen. Senators, MPs, governors, and some other leaders, MCAs, governors, were vigilante groups against DCI and the DPP. If you go to your funeral service, you have gone to church service, you've gone to your meeting, political meeting, you turn your guns on the DCI. There are two things that President Uhuru has done and what he did yesterday. What he did yesterday is what we call political ring fence. Political ring fencing. It will be difficult for anyone, if you are in Jubilee Party or you are in ODM Party, for you to point a finger at the DCI, DPP, ESCC again. Not me. I have nothing. I'm a journalist. I will print what the information the DCI will give us, or if they have a press conference, we shall publish. But for you, a politician, a senator, a leader of majority, to go into your backyard and start harassing the DCI, is over. It is over. So if you're a Christian and you are in the period of Lent, what Kenyatta did last night was Pontius Pilate said, I have nothing but except the law, the Roman law as it is, bring me water to wash my hands. I'm interpreting for you the Kenyatta speech. Many of you were disheartened because Kenyatta did not sack the ministers. It is already, if you have a problem, prepare your file and your jacket to go to DCI and sort it in court. And once you are in court, my dear, that's the end of it. It's a strategy behind the entire speech on corruption. Most of you who were very disturbed that the President Kenyatta did not tell the ministers to go. Most of you thought he should have sacked them openly. Yes, we have been calling, because the performance of some of the ministers, the number of scandals that we see, the number of scandals that are there, financial, both misuse of public resources, allocation, signature, signing for money when people are even dead. You are giving money to companies where people are dead already. Where are they? Who is paying the dead person? I've never seen a grave being paid money. Some of these scandals are very obnoxious. Some of them are very, very stinky. They stink. That's why the public, Mr. President, the public had been very touched. And their cry has been met in your speech yesterday, that once you are mentioned and you are taken to take a plea in court, You don't return to the office to seal the loopholes. You clean yourself, and then if you are not convicted, you come back, they might think of your re-employment or redeployment. That is the spirit of yesterday's speech. For those who don't know that, you better know it now. You better know it now. Mr. President, your speech encouraged most of us who have been talking about the courts. Although you did not go deeper into the question of courts, most of us have been against the court because there is incompetence in the court. I have been part of the group or my television station, this African think tank. It's not a station, it's a think tank working for Africa for free. We have been at the forefront to say the court in Kenya is corrupt. And we have been vindicated that that court in Kenya is corrupt. I want to take this opportunity to thank the president for him realizing and acknowledging that justice in Kenya is bought. The highest bidder takes the justice. The lowest bidder goes to jail. That's it. It summarizes what justice is here. Mr. President, as you do that, the obstacle, the elephant in the house, still remains the Supreme Court and the judiciary under Maraga. The judiciary under Chief Justice Maraga, whose petition we have not seen, or whose petition has been muzzled by those handling petitions, or whose petition the man who brought the petition has been tried, talked to, and the double corruption has entered. The guy who did the petition, we don't see, we don't hear it, we don't know where it is gone. Is also another question for us to pursue. President Uhuru Kenyatta, we are not vigilantes. Neither do we pitchfork. We state facts. You told us, you called us to help you. You told us media to help you to bring out information about corruption and graft. I want to stand and defend the media. That the media has been criticized wrongly. We are not policemen. We are not policemen. We are people's public prosecutors. We inform the public. We tell the public what they should know. We are not policemen. We don't arrest people. But we publish story which we have got, which with facts. We are not vigilante groups like a civic setups of Boniface Mwangi or Githongo or anti-corruption groups. No, we are the media. And once you have said there is a dam and there is no dam, we go and find the towels. We publish that those are towels. The freedom of all journalists should be safeguarded, whether here or in the Commonwealth. I am a senior member of the Commonwealth Journalists Association internationally. I believe that journalism must be allowed to bring investigative stories, not fake stories. Therefore, journalists played their role. For example, if you say you have dug a dam and you have taken $21 million, billion, not 21 billion or $7 billion or 7 million, yeah, whatever amount has been taken. Journalists go to the scene to find out if they find the towels, they find the cutlery, they find the sofa set, they find brandy, whiskey, Johnny Walker, Jameson, folks of the highest degree. What should a journalist report? He has to report the same. And that's what we did. We did not say go and arrest so and so. We simply reported 100 traders went to DCI. Each trader went and brought about what he bought with the money that he was allocated in Era and Cameroon Dam. That's it. And each trader said, I was given this, I was told to bring mattresses, I brought mattresses. I delivered the mattresses in place A or B. That is an investigation for the DCI. It is not for us, journalists. All what journalists did was to print exactly where these mattresses were located. But it is the work of the DCI to find who took the mattresses and how did the mattresses end there, who bought them, how were they bought. The towels, were they going to be used in dry land or in water or in the dam? When the dam grows big from nowhere. That's the scenario. So I want to thank President Uhuru Kenyatta to bring out that issue so that it's clarified. For example, you find a judge with a Range Rover. What do you do with a judge with a Range Rover who has bought a Range Rover? A new Range Rover from a Vix or from a small Toyota Corolla. And within days, a judge has got a Range Rover. You go to the Mlimani court, in the car park in the basement, you clear with security, and as an investigative journalist, you go and find a Range Rover parked in parking lot B for the judges, Judge 1, Judge 2, whatever. You take a picture as a journalist. Your role is to flash the picture to the public that this judge a few days ago did not have this car. But this judge now has this car. And this car was bought by A, B, C, D. The person who picks this judge every evening from her court has got also a V8. And this V8, who is the person? The V8 person is the office messenger or the receptionist in National Health and NHIF Insurance Fund. That's how we did it. We exposed that it is there. A few weeks after that, the judges, that judge gave even an order. We are not vigilante groups. He gave an order that judge said, you should not publish anything about this story. I want to thank the Chief Justice for having transferred that judge from Nairobi to another place. I hope she's not committing crimes in that place. So, where have the journalists done wrong? The journalists have exactly done what was supposed to be done. We have exactly exposed that there is a cartel in the judiciary. Justice Mumbi, a constitutional lawyer, looks at corruption as something very usual, as it is. something that you can walk with in town. Chief Magistrate Ogoti looks at corruption and the stealing of public resources as aids or terrorism or murder. The two work for the judiciary. Whose problem is it, Mr. President? It's not my problem as a journalist. It's the problem of the Chief Justice to sit down, look at the two judges. One is a Chief Magistrate handling corruption, looking at where the governor has built houses using the people's money, and feeling good for patriotic for the country, and slams the governor of Samburu 150 million to pay before you get out of remand. And Mumbi, who sees corruption as a normal disease of measles, not even measles, not even leprosy, but some disease of malaria, which is curable by being given PP5, PPF, somewhere in a clinic in Kayole, and you go home. So Mumbi reduces the amount. Mumbi reduces the amount of money that is supposed to be paid by a thief. A governor, a thief, is no longer governor, he's a thief. Because the action that he did, his petrol station is his. He bought petrol from his petrol station, went and charged his own county. This county gave him the money. He grew up. His children went to London, to Mexico, to Atlanta, on the money of the county, while the people of Samburu had no water, no borehole, looking for water every day. Who is worse, Ogoti or Mumbi? Mumbi is worse. That's not vigilantism. Those are facts. We are not telling you to go and kill Mumbi. We are telling you there is incompetence. There is incompetence, yeah. The court is incompetent here, Mr. President. You saw it. You yourself, you say justice is about preferences. If you have more money, you come out of Milimani court like 1 minute and return to go and do what you are doing before. If you have no money, you will stick in that court with your lips white. Can you tell me where is Joe? Where is Mr. Obado? Where is the two accused of Mr. Obado? Where are they? We want to fight for justice, equality. Where are the 2 men accused of having killed, or 3 men accused of having killed Sharon Atieno? Where are they? 2 are in remand home, and 1 is flying with helicopter. Everywhere. Is that justice? Is that justice? We can't talk about that. Is that justice? Tell me. Oyamo and this man, these were workers of Mr. Obado. Where are they? They are languishing in industrial area remand. The lady is dead. May her soul rest in peace. But you have allowed the reason as to why the lady died is not because of Oyamo and Obiero. They are not my relatives. But I want to seek justice for them. If you are giving bail, give all of them bail to go home and put conditions for them. But you cannot allow those ones, deny them bail. Deny them bail and say to one man, because he's a governor, because he has got money, he says he goes home. Where is the justice? Where is it? Where is it? The court, Mr. President. Your speech, for me, you made it for me. I want to tell you frankly, I slept very well. Because I studied political science and international relations, which includes international law, which touches international arrangement and the law, how things work. Your foreign policy, you scored. Security, you scored. Economy, you scored. Kenya's economy is strong. You scored. You need only to do a few things, unemployment, and this and that, and create the youth, let them be workable and get jobs. You scored. On corruption, you scored. Why I say on corruption you scored is you have already you acted like a Pontius Pilate, release Barabbas, and fix Jesus. The Pharisees would have asked the release of Barabbas and fix Jesus. Yes. Now we don't want the innocent to be punished for the sake of the guilty. The guilty ones must be punished by the DCI. I agree with you. The DCI and DPP and the ESCC must bring us forensic. Part of the problem why ICC is collapsing, and I will bury it before it buries anybody else, is because they didn't do forensic investigations. It is for this that we have been analyzing the speech of the president. I've been doing it. I gave this 1 hour so that my people, when we switch on to the next topic, there will be no clash at all. The Kenyan viewers, you have seen my analysis. The problem of yesterday is the judiciary. The stinking point in the middle, Mr. President, is Chief Justice Maraga and his team. There is a mess there. The rest, if DCI has information that you took money and banked it somewhere in your son's name, in your wife's name, or in your brother's name, I don't know, nobody can bank in Matanga's name because Matanga is hated. Nobody can bank something for me. Eh? There is a professor here called Professor Mutahi Ngunyi. He woke up in the morning and found 13 million shillings banked on his account. Surely, can somebody also bank something for me? I'm just joking, because I would not take it. I will take it to the police station. I will take it to the police station, I swear. If I found that money on my account with my sharpness, and then I say I did not know that that money was there. Kenyans, that's what it is, that I did not know that the money that was stolen from NYS was there. Yet you are supplying hot air in NYS, and you go around telling people you studied political science. What political science, my foot? There's nothing there. It's corruption. The only problem is that I'm not a Kenyan. I'm not listened to. But some people listen to very poor, bad professors I will not give my client such rubbish. I wouldn't. I would not. No. I can't. You have already been a supplier in an agency that has a problem. Then you say, I did not know. So, all in all, the courts remain the obstacle in the fight against corruption. Viewers, the president's speech, therefore, passed the threshold of an international state of address to the nation. The speech encompasses, the speech looks at how we might get housing. The speech looks at, and the speech finally delivers the corrupt voluntarily. May God help us. You are delivered. Let the arrests begin. Let the evidence come. Thank you very much. That is as far as I'm concerned. And before I leave the stage to come to another topic, I would like to discuss. There's one newspaper missing of the People's Daily. I didn't see it here. My hands are tied. That's what the president said. The Standard newspaper, he says his hands are tied. Mr. President, the hands are not tied anymore. You have now loosened your hands and left the whole problem to the hands of the DPP and the DCI plus EACC. Once they deliver the person in the court, let that person, the right to bail is a fundamental right enshrined in the Kenyan Constitution. But while you have been given bail, you cannot return to your office to work. That's the thing that we got. That's clear. Once you plea, guilty or not guilty, I'm saying I'm not guilty. I did not steal the money of Aro and the Kimorero Dam. I'm not guilty. But you live that day, walk out. Just go. Just go. I did not give land titles. Don't return to the office to steal computer. Go home. That's what the president was saying. You're a public officer. The governor. Look, we should also review the governor, the settings of devolution. For example now, in the case Governor Sonko is arrested, he has to step aside. Who will run this county? I leave the question to Kenyans because I always think ahead, like I thought ahead about the next topic of ICC. Look at my brain. This one here, this one, I saw it in 2005. I saw ICC in 2005. I'm going to bring you the story. Don't go away. We now join our satellite across from Berlin in the next show. Is ICC collapsing? Is ICC, International Criminal Court, has it collapsed? Is it collapsing? If its chief prosecutor cannot step near the United Nations headquarters, has the ICC collapsed? I want us to take a break. And then you hear the story, how this man speaking has suffered, stood, defended encouraged, and at times defiant against all odds to rescue my brothers from the International Criminal Court. Keep watching. I'm coming back.
Our ambassador to the United Nations, Nikki Haley, laid out a clear agenda for reform, but despite reported and repeated warnings, no action at all was taken. So the United States took the only responsible course. We withdrew from the Human Rights Council, and we will not return until real reform is enacted. For similar reasons, the United States will provide no support in recognition to the International Criminal Court. As far as America is concerned, the ICC has no jurisdiction, no legitimacy, and no authority. The ICC claims near universal jurisdiction over the citizens of every country, violating all principles of justice, fairness, and due process. We will never surrender America's sovereignty to an unelected, unaccountable global bureaucracy.
Trump's decision to come out of ICC, which is International Criminal Court, sends a lot of signals and a lot of happiness to some of us. From time of the inception of ICC, David Matanga and others, I want to thank David Hoyle, my professor, Professor Hoyle in London. Thank you very much for mentoring me to stand firm to discuss the African question on the ICC. It is very important, therefore, for the people of Africa to understand that while you rejoice, while you want to hate Trump, Trump has made it very clear that globalization is not part of his agenda.
America is governed by Americans. We reject the ideology of globalism, and we embrace the doctrine of patriotism. Around the world, responsible nations must defend against threats to sovereignty, not just from global governments, but also from other new forms of coercion and domination. In America, we believe strongly in energy security for ourselves and for our allies.
Today, as we speak, this nation cannot be the same. This nation is paralyzed. This nation needs serious redemption, needs the building of bridges. As a result of the ICC, the anger that was flowing from one end to the other created a problem that we see here, but people don't want to admit. People wait in Africa. Trump is correct. Let's wake up. Let's have a rebuff that delivers to hope so that our people don't perish in the Mediterranean Sea. A rebuff that will bring about peaceful resolution of conflicts, like the conflicts that occur in South Sudan between Riek Machar and Salva Kiir. These conflicts don't give us any hope. These conflicts don't give us anything that is yearned for. These conflicts are a pity to Africa. We are lulled into the ICC in 1998 by Kofi Annan. America rejected ICC, stood firm and said, we can give you the money, but we shall not ratify for you because we have institutions. We have failed our own judiciary systems, but we want to be judged by another judiciary system which has no jury, it has no evidence, it has no separation of powers between the chief prosecutor and the investigative arm, and then with the prosecuting arm. That's the Africa we have. Good morning or good afternoon. Good morning, viewers, wherever you are in Africa and elsewhere in the world. This is Punchline Africa Television, a think tank of Africa, a voluntary community think tank of Africa that delivers news to Africa, that defends Africa, that talks about what ails Africa, what destroys Africa, why Africa is like this, what can we do to create an atmosphere where we have, does Africa need elections? Does Africa need international bodies to supervise them? Who can tell us what direction we can go? Is Africa a cursed continent? Is it the same as it used to be? When you have people killing others in Biafra, when you have people slaughtering others in Nigeria, in Cameroon, is this the Africa that we want? Central African Republic, hammering guns every morning. When you have people in South Sudan now threatening peace, when you have people when you read the speech of why Donald Trump hates Africans, you shed tears. You read that speech, why he hates Africans. Are we enemies of our own? Why do we destroy each other? This morning, as I had woken up to do my usual work at 4 a.m., a vision had come to me. And that vision last night told me, you are going to walk up and walk. I did not know. I woke up at about 3:30. And it reminded me of so many things that I had done before. I did not know what it was. But as I was reading news and entertainment on the radio at 6, the United States of America came in calling. The United States of America yesterday revoked. The United States of America yesterday revoked the visas of the chief prosecutor of the International Criminal Court. The decision to revoke to the USA response to Ms. Besuda and the court officials trying to investigate Americans. The United States of America had warned the ICC to stop investigations against any American soldier. It is this type of news that I had waited for. It is this type of confirmation that I had wanted to hear. But behind all this, there lies a facade, a charade of investigations in Africa. Behind all this, there are people who have been on the way to these courts. America is just realizing today that this court was very bad court and very obnoxious. This court has got selective amnesia. This court cannot charge beer, Paul beer. This court cannot charge Jean Ping of Gabon. This court cannot judge Buhari. And yet, the crimes that Buhari is committing today in the international criminal justice arena are huge. But nobody is charging General Buhari for failing, for using some of the members of Boko Haram to kill Biafrans. Nobody has charged him. Nobody wants to charge him. The ICC is watching. It has sat down. It smells hearsay. It wants to go in hearsay territories. But it doesn't want to go to places where real crimes against humanity are being committed. It is this type of engagement, arrangement, that I have been against for a long time. It is I, the only African in Saharan Africa, on all African cases, who has filed in the International Criminal Court 21 applications. I filed 21 applications. One, to get justice for the people of Africa. Two, to get justice for victims. Free, a fair, transparent trial produces justice. But a trial that is littered with a litany of pitfalls, a pitfall of insanity, that will never produce justice. I have said, and I will continue to say, if you watch Buhari slaughter people, watch Biya slaughter Amazonians, come to South Sudan, watch the two warring armies slaughter Sudanese. Go to Somalia. The leaders of Al-Shabaab are known. They have somewhere where they stay. The leaders of Boko Haram are known in Nigeria. They have somewhere where they stay. There is a place where they operate from. Why didn't the leaders of ICC, International Criminal Court, send warrants to the leader of Boko Haram? I'm asking my fellow Africans. We know the leader of Boko Haram. He comes on television, radio, addressing the world that he's going to kidnap more girls from Maiduguri and the north of Nigeria. Why hasn't Buhari, as the president, unless Buhari works with Boko Haram, why hasn't he applied to the International Criminal Court that this leader whom he cannot approach, whom he cannot get, because he's in the vast Sahara Desert, we of the North Sahara region of the Sahara Desert is not approachable? Can ICC warrants bring him out to table, or we see who he is? I'm saying this because I'm comparing the Ugandan situation. I want to expose the double tragedy, the double-mouthed tragedy of the International Criminal Court to support Americans. Why Americans have rejected ICC. I want to tell you, Ugandans were brutally murdered, killed by both armies of the Uganda National Resistance Army by then and the Lord Resistance Army. The International Criminal Court, headed by Luis Moreno Campo, arrived in Uganda, took all the evidence that they needed, decided to only accuse one side. The same tactic that they have used elsewhere in DRC Congo. When you take Thomas Lubanga, there must be government troops. Was Thomas Lubanga fighting alone? When you take Bemba, there must be troops. Was Bemba fighting alone? Was Bemba in Central African Republic? Under whose invitation? Who invited Bemba? Who wanted him to come to help him? Why didn't you indict Bozise, the president of Central African Republic by then, or whoever was the president of Central African Republic, who invited Bemba to go to international waters in the Central African Republic to support that president? Why did you indict only Bemba? Let's go to Ivory Coast. If you think ICC is credible, you will cry tears. The International Criminal Court indicted Babugo and they left President Ouattara. Ouattara used arms together with his people from Burkina Faso, Burkinabos, invaded Abidjan, took over the territory of Ivory Coast, delivered it to the presidency of Ivory Coast by the French hegemony. The ICC went to Ivory Coast, indicted Babugo, left Ouattara. Shame. The people Ouattara killed did not kill with stones, not with water bullets. He killed them with bullets made of metal. If you are indicting Babugo, you must indict Ouattara. If you indict Babugo's wife, you must indict Ouattara's wife. But because Ouattara's wife is French, she was never indicted. What is it that Mama Naomi of Babugo, Salome of Babugo, what did she do that Ouattara's wife did not do? Is this the ICC you want? I want Africans whose heads are sunk in myopic thinking that there is a solution in the International Criminal Court, and they tell their presidents that it's okay, sir, we shall be there, we shall need to talk to them. Talk to who? Talk to who? Did you make that charter? If you're a foreign minister in this country, in Kenya or Uganda or where, were you in Rome? I was in Rome. You were nowhere. I was in Rome when that treaty was being signed. Uganda was the first country to be indicted by the International Criminal Court. You see what they did to us? They brought us catastrophe. The war would have not ended had I not taken a step forward like Raila took a step forward to shake the hand of Uhuru Kenyatta. I took a hand across to shake Museveni's hand to end the war. Look at that injustice. Look at that injustice. In the Uganda case, is there any officer from the Uganda People's Defense Forces who is standing trial in The Hague? Show me. There I am with bishops. I walked miles in the bushes looking for peace for my country. It's not a lie. That let me face Vesuda and tell you exactly that you are the most useless organization on planet Earth. You create divisions in Africa. You molest Africans. You mutilate Africans. You separate Africans, segregate them. Come and dismantle countries' order. Look at the country's order. In Uganda, we have restored our order. We decided to forgive the Lord Resistance Army. Most of the combatants returned home. They are busy digging, involving themselves. That's the policy that we must look for. A handshake, a way forward. Bring the photograph of my handshake with President Museveni, and you'll see. I took a handshake, a step forward. I brought it up and I said, I will never. I brought peace. Let there be peace here. Let there be peace here. Is that peace not holding? The ICC is just worse court than Kibera Court. Kibera Magistrates Court in Kenya is better than the ICC. Let's go. If you arrest Thomas Lubanga, Bosco Ntaganda, I'm mentioning them for you. Where are Congolese soldiers that were fighting against Bosco Ntaganda? Where are they in the court? You go to to Sudan. The case of Sudan, Khartoum, Bashir versus the ICC. Let me tell you, this is the case that has made America hate ICC more than the ICC itself. The documents that were given to me by the Americans regarding how that is my peace process. For the first time in 2008, I shook hands with President Museveni. We finished the entire problem. I negotiated peace, and that peace is holding. 11 years past. Not a single person has died because of a bullet in northern Uganda. May God hold that peace. Your Excellency, Mr. President, I hope one day you will pay my money, because you never paid my money for my allowances. I was hired by the EU, AU. You stepped in and said you will pay the money. It's a shame. When you came here a few weeks ago, I did not want to embarrass. But look at the people who took that money. Mr. President, you are watching my video, because this morning I told you I'm going to talk about ICC. I tagged you, sir. Check who took my money. $342,000 for 1 to 2 years. Allowances that were regulated by European Union, AU, and the European Union had checks. Riaka Machar is watching. I also tagged you. I want you also to watch, so that you know when you return to Juba, the first assignment is to give me my money and ask President Museveni to pay me my money. I have no problem. If you don't want me to speak about it in this region, I will not speak about it. But I will want that money, as long as I'm alive. I worked for it. I suffered for it. I was not paid. I don't want to blame who took it. I don't want to write to Lieutenant Colonel Judith Nakalema or whoever it is I'm about to write, because I'm fed up. I've waited for this. Rugunda, I have told you on a number of occasions, you come here with stories. All of you come with stories, tell lies here. You were supposed to pay my money. This is not your problem to pay my money. Had you left me with the European Union, they would pay me the money, because they gave me a contract. But you came in the middle and said we shall pay. That type of lies which you lie to every Ugandan. And then you come to bring stories here. You are clean people. Pay my money. If I had died, if the rebel had killed me, my children will eat what? Urine? They will eat what? The ICC brought us the confusion we are in today in Uganda. I sorted that mess in Uganda. There is no more war. No war will be there. Nobody will ever fight. It is whoever wants to fight, that's their problem. I'm not part of it. My role as a citizen of the global community was to ensure that money is, peace returns to northern Uganda. I brought the peace, and that peace is more important than the money. You can eat it, but the peace is there. But if you have feelings that this man went and got it, with all the money that you throw around to people, to relatives, one day wake up, just as I shook the hand, and that peace returned. Until I get that money, the rest you can talk whatever you want to talk. You can tell these stories. Sit down in the hotels, tell story. You tell your stories. You hide the biggest story of you cheating a normal person. Not paying him his dues. And then you turn around to say, this is this, that. No. It's a good relationship. I don't want to spoil it. I'm an East African. The peace is holding. I'm not a rebel. I will not fight. I'm a soldier from 1978. I've never not go back to the bush to fight anymore. But trust, reconciliation, truth is very important. Truth and accountability in a redemption strategy in the BBI. When you are doing the BBI, the truth and accountability is very important. You can write good volumes of paperwork, but those two missing, it can't work. I'm just telling you people, because that's my subject I read. If you don't do it, no truth, nothing. The International Criminal Court, in the Sudan case, accused Luis Moreno Ocampo, accused Bashir. But behind the scenes, Luis Moreno Ocampo was receiving a $17 million. $17 million pumped through the personal assistant of Luis Moreno Ocampo's account in the Bahamas, in the Citibank, in the, Trinidad, Tobago, in all these places, in South Africa, in a bank in Madagascar. This money was being channeled by an international NGO that hated Bashir. Not because he killed the people in Darfur, but because Bashir belongs to another sect or organization they never liked. I'll not go much in details because that matter is very sensitive. The Americans have come to realize that International Criminal Court is the most useless organization on the planet Earth. They have decided to make it not worth it. They have said, bye-bye, International Criminal Court. $17 million paid to the account of Sylvia Fernandez Gumedi to go and indict General Bashir. I want to tell you the story of how many countries in Africa have suffered as a result of General Bashir and the ICC. Uganda is on blacklist. Kenya is on blacklist. everywhere where Bashir went to step, South Africa is suffering. It had to clear its name and reverse to return to a poor, stupid ICC. A whole South African government begged ICC. Oh, ICC. You know, Africans, we have a huge problem. Why this court, the African Court of Justice, under President Uhuru Kenyatta talked about Pan-Africanism yesterday. But Mr. President, with due respect, I would like you to ask for your money. How much money you paid? $1 million to the African Union to create an African Court of Justice. How much of that money is still available? If we are not corrupt up to that level, the African Union cannot account for that money. They have spent that money eating breakfast in hotels all over Africa. There is no court today. There is not a single court in the African Union called African Court of Justice. We've lost it. We are still here. ICC is going to come to pick more people because violence is almost everywhere. Every election produces violence, dead bodies on the ground. ICC will come again to pick more and take them. We forget we are enemies of our own making. The International Criminal Court decided that it will continue to arrest African heads of state. The situation, therefore, if you look at the situation of
Bilateral and multilateral level.
of African Union, President Uhuru Kenyatta said, let there be an African Union. An African Union court. He paid $1 million. Mugabe, before he left power, he told the African Union, Pop, don't beg money. He took a check of $1 million. I tell you, because African Union is captured. It's captured by a country well known as the country that has captured the entire African continent and creates more problems for the entire continent. I tell you, that money is not there. The African Union Court would solve more problems because it will understand the context of the African version. I want to take this opportunity, therefore, to thank the American people, to thank President Trump, for taking one step forward towards the solution of an obnoxious, silly organization created by diplomats, instigated by diplomats, funded by diplomats, funded by George Soros, equipped by George Soros to overthrow governments through a policy of mutilation of state enterprises, state capture of the judiciary, state capture of governments, state capture of opposition parties in Africa. I want to take this opportunity to thank Americans for having taken one step towards Jerusalem in revoking the visas for Madame Louis Bessouda, Fatou Bessouda, and I would like you to take more steps that it is not Bessouda who initiated the thing of going to investigate Afghanistan crimes and attack. It is Luis Moreno Campo, a thief hiding somewhere in one of the European capitals, who should also be not allowed to travel to America because he's the one who initiated, laid down this process. So I ask American government to add Luis Moreno Campo, Sylvia Gumedi Fernandez, the former registrar of the High Court, of the ICC, all of them to be added on your travel ban into United States, because they took part, they prepared, they supported, they equipped the current chief prosecutor to deliver himself against the Americans in Afghanistan and Iraq. I want to take this opportunity to ask Israel also to take a stand, because this organization is just there to target. Look at the cases. Look at what they did in Libya. What they do in Libya. The International Criminal Court went and indicted Gaddafi. The late Gaddafi died with a warrant of arrest demanding for him to be taken to The Hague. But it did not indict General Haftar. It worked with General Haftar and others who were terrorists. This is ICC to indict Said Gaddafi. Up to date, as we speak, the International Criminal Court, after Said Gaddafi was found not guilty in the Libyan courts, the International Criminal Court wants Said Gaddafi to be charged in The Hague. Is this fair? No. I want to take this opportunity also to encourage African countries that the writing is on the wall. Article 127 of the ICC Rome Statute is very clear. Foreign ministers in Africa are watching. At least Uganda, foreign minister might not be able to travel to United States for some time, or never to step there, because there is a man who has been convicted there. And if you step there, you have to convince the American you have to convince the American government that you are not the one. So there you are. I leave it to God. You see, there is a saying in Uganda that what you want to be done on your friend could be the one to be done on you. So I leave it there. The rest, chewayagaliza muno, ekibi chewayagaliza muno, kiyinza okubeera kibi ekikuddayo ewuwo. So I leave, that's a translation. You cannot service one side of the bridge and you think the bridge will be firm. You must service both sides if you are servicing the bridge. If you want to cross over the river, both sides of the bridge must be firm. Must be firm. And that's it. If they are not firm, you will find yourself in a position the International Criminal Court Chief Prosecutor is in today. He's in a very bad, murky waters. I don't know what the Secretary General will do, because the Secretary General cannot smuggle her to the United Nations. She has to get permission for the aircraft to land at JF Kennedy. Before you take the chief prosecutor to the UN, you must pass on American soil. So, 2012, I told the people that that is going to happen. I'm glad now the people who have gone without seeing this action is Kofi Annan, is gone to God, and other people in Kenya who tried to muzzle me. The suffering that I took, the beating that I took, the isolation that I took, the name calling that I received while fighting for my Kenyan brothers is what still haunts me today. I want to tell my Kenyan brothers that whoever I fought, I stood. I had known ICC in 2005. I've explained to you here, you can see, I knew those people were very bad from 2005. I tried to warn people when I came here. I found everybody was praying and respecting and kneeling before Ocampo, including the head of state, including the former prime minister. All of them were kneeling before Ocampo. All of them wanted the 6 Kenyans to be fixed properly. Brothers, as you enjoy these fruits, remember us. That's the end of my broadcast. May God help you, guide you over this weekend. Don't forget, tomorrow, 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. every day, we have what we call Africa Showdown. It is a program that looks at events in every African on our radio station, www.radiopunchlineafrica.com. If you tune in now, music is going on. 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365 days. Enjoy. If you are in America, if you are in Europe, if you are in South Africa, if you anywhere in China, anywhere in New Zealand, anywhere in Australia, in Russia, anywhere in Greenland, just Google that link. You receive the good music of Mutuku, good music of Franco, Tabule, Bob Wine. That's what people want us to talk about. Every day people want to, when you say Bob Wine, they can say, yeah, hallelujah. Hosanna, Hosanna. There you are. That radio station is serving the international community. It is a digital radio station on platform digital. You see, people were saying you need to have a frequency. Why do you have a frequency when the frequency people are running to the digital? Everybody with a telephone, that's the radio you can continue to watch and listen to, punch in those words, cross and tap radio live. You will enjoy until we meet on Monday or Sunday for Africa Showdown. This has been Dr. David Matsanga, son of soil, all the way from Nairobi, London, and Harare. Thank you very much. God bless you.